Hi, I'm Maddie Hockaday, also known as the Anne of this relationship.
And I'm Holly, the Leslie.
We love Parks and Rec. We love behind the scenes.
And we love each other. This is literally the best Parks and Recreation rewatch show.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Hello there.
We are ready for the Stakeout season 2, sorry, episode 2. I can't believe we are here. It's a wonderful.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a recap moment
Beautiful.
for you.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Recap.
So, it's not a lot, but last episode we were wondering about Shepard Fairey, who did the Hope poster, or Nope, as you saw.
Yeah.
And we were wondering if Obama found his artwork after it was already made, or if he was hired specifically to work for Obama. And I found that the design was created, actually, fun fact, it was created in one day and printed first as a street poster, because that's kind of like what this artist does. And then it was more widely distributed, both like as a digital image and like other paraphernalia like buttons and shit like that during the 2008 election season, which was initially independent of the Obama campaign. But then Obama saw this stuff, or the campaign rather. I guess he would have to put his stamp on it too, but the campaign saw it first and approved it. So he created it first, and then Obama's campaign saw it and was like, yo, that's really cool.
But he did create it for Obama. He was like helping campaign for Obama, just separate from the campaign.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was really into Obama, and he made this poster, and the campaign like had no idea / had no, association with it. But then they saw it and were like, oh, we should incorporate this into our campaign.
That's really cool. Like, way to get noticed.
I know, right? It was really dope. But fun fact / like side note that I don't know if a lot of people know, but apparently the Associated Press sued him because they took the original photo because he copied it like from a photo that it was based off of, and he ended up getting a fine and a really big fine and a probation for 2 years because he kind of lied, evidently. This is what I found in my research, and said he didn't use that original photo. But then that poster was actually eventually acquired by the Smithsonian National Portrait Gallery, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, so that's the story on him.
That's cool.
And yeah, I thought it was cool.
It definitely looks like street art to me, like something you might see like graffitied on the side of a building or something.
Yeah. Definitely. A lot of people compared it to the Che Guevara poster as well. That's really famous now, or was famous during that political time as well. But anyway, so that's Shepard Fairey. Okay, the second thing was that I said this a long time ago, but I was haunted by it a little bit. I said that the deposition episode in The Office, I said that it was written by Mike Schur. I don't know why I said that. I guess I saw that somewhere. But then we were talking about what episode aired the same time as Parks and Rec as The Office, if that makes sense. And so that's when I said that the deposition, and I researched that and found that Mike Schur wrote it, but I thought he did, but he didn't. It was actually written by Lester Lewis. He was mentioned and talked about in Office Ladies as well, so I need to state a retraction on my part. Also, Lester has since passed away since then.
No.
I know, it's very sad. Office Ladies got very emotional talking about him, but he wrote the deposition. So when we're talking about they hang off my lady's chest, that was him. So R.I.P., pour one out, Lester. Your contribution to the world has been noted.
Yes, that is a great episode. That's in season 4, so Mike Schur would have at least still been involved with The Office at that time. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I must have seen, and also IMDb is misleading because it will say on the front page of the IMDb episode that, or, whatever series episode, that it was written by Greg Daniels and Mike Schur, but you have to expand it because they say who the actual writer was. Right. In the expansion. So that's probably what happened.
So they're like on that main page, they're just basing it off of like who actually wrote and created the show, basically. Okay.
Right. Exactly. So, but yeah, I just needed to state that for the record. Not that anyone really was tracking it, but I was. Okay, then last thing, we talked about Moxie, the new Netflix movie starring Amy Poehler. But I don't think I said this last time. She also directed it, which is amazing. and it was based off a book, and it's this like really dope, cool feminist movie, and I really loved it. At the beginning, I have to say, just as a little brief movie review, I was like, my blood was boiling because it was talking about how these teachers and just like officials and stuff are just letting assault happen, and it was really awful. But then like it gets obviously better. But she actually, Leslie Knope / Amy Poehler in real life, has her own production company called Paper Kite Productions, and she, was the one. That production company did Moxie, but also I totally thought for some reason that Paper Kite Productions worked on Parks and Rec, because that little like tag title card thing, just like the Deedle D thing for Greg Daniels, comes up at the end. But I was getting it mistaken. That title card actually comes up at the end of Broad City.
Okay.
So Amy Poehler also produced Broad City, which was amazing. But yeah, they've done, she did Russian Doll, Wine Country, Moxie, that new one, and Duncanville, which is a new animated series. Well, newish. It came out like recently. But yeah, so just FYI, if you didn't already know, which you already do if you listen to this, is that Amy Poehler is a badass boss bitch.
Amen.
So yeah, but now, okay, so that's all my recap. And now I'm on to the Stakeout.
In the words of Tom, hold up, because I also have the recap. So
oh my God, you do, Maddie! That's so exciting. Yeah. Okay, what is it?
So I found a thing, but I found it last week, and I'm just dumb, and I forgot to mention it, and I got off the phone with you, and we stopped recording, and I was like, damn it, I had this cool thing, and now I don't have it. So, in our last episode, Pawnee Zoo, there was memorabilia for Flipper and Tux. It exists. It's real. You can actually buy a t-shirt and sweatshirt for Flipper and Tux. And I am like 2 seconds away from ordering you and I a sweatshirt. But it does exist. You guys, like, all you have to do is literally Google Flipper and Tux memorabilia or like t-shirt, and the bunch come up. Like, they're not just on Amazon. They have several different websites that sell them. So if you are a supporter of Flipper and Tux and would like to voice that to the world, there is a way to do that.
That is insane.
Cool?
Oh my God, I'm so glad you found that. Yeah, I would be 2 seconds away from buying it as well if I knew that it existed, and now I do. So, oh Lord.
Right? Yeah. The amount of money we're going to spend on each other with Parks and Rec memorabilia is amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love that.
Yay.
Okay, great. Well, that's a great recap. I'm really proud of you.
I was like, I got to add this in there.
Yes.
So now I'm ready to get on to Stakeout. So
okay.
Should we go over the director and the writer first?
Yes, absolutely. All right. So this was written by Rachel Axler. Oh my gosh, we love. She has been a story editor before. We already saw her, but we've also seen her writing work in Canvassing, which was episode 2 of the first season. We've got a great team here, but I'll get to the director in a moment. But something else I found out about Rachel Axler, which I did not know before, was that she wrote 3 episodes of Dickinson, which we talked about. Marcia Langman has also been a producer on Dickinson. Haley Steinfeld, big fan over here, which is awesome. But also I don't think we mentioned this the first time, but she was also a huge writer, Rachel Axler was, on The Daily Show.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we talked about that, but she has written a ton of episodes / worked on a ton of sketches and stuff for that. So that's awesome.
Trevor Noah was on, or was it when it was still the...
Yeah, I think it was Jon Stewart. I think it was.
Like, what's... His name's something with a J, Stewart. And I was going to say Jimmy, and I'm glad I didn't. Okay.
I knew. There's so many Jimmys, though. I wouldn't have blamed you if you did. Did you find anything else about her that you wanted to mention?
No. But she does okay. She does have connection to our director.
Yes, absolutely. So this was directed by Seth Gordon, and he also directed Canvassing, which is amazing. So we've got our dream team back. He also directed, we talked about this, I believe, in the last one, but he also directed In the Office, Delivery Part 1, and Double Date in the Office. So that's amazing. But yeah, were you going to say something?
I think I just had a realization. Canvassing is the 2nd episode of season 1, and this is the 2nd episode of season 2.
Right. So their 2nd episode, babes. That's their new band name.
Everything that sounds cool is just going to be a new band name now. Everybody prepare yourself.
Literally. That's what I say to everyone in just regular conversation. So yeah, that's a good little parallel moment. But yeah, they work really well together. Also, I wanted to mention really briefly, so the story editor of this was a dude named Harris. We love him. And you will recognize Harris because he plays Harris as the animal control. No. He is the white one, if you wanted to get like really visual. But anyway, he plays the white guy in the animal department of Parks and Rec. He's a comedian, done a ton of work with Parks and Rec, was with them for a super long time. But sad moment, just like Lester, he has joined Lester in the comedy heaven, and he has he passed away.
He's so young though. What the heck?
He's so young. I know. I remember them posting about this when I was looking him up. I think Amy Poehler and a couple other people posted about him, just saying how brilliant he was. Beautiful, amazing writer. But yeah, I don't know how he died. I didn't get that far, but terrible. So we are just pouring one out and two out for these wonderful writers. It's amazing, and really sad because they were both pretty young, I feel, like in the grand scheme of things. But it's wonderful to know. I think he wrote a few episodes as well, but he was a story editor on this one. So, we again thank you for your contribution. Well, I'm ready for the cold open. Are you ready?
I'm ready for my summary. Come on, girl.
Oh my God, yes! I'm the worst. I'm so sorry.
You're not the worst. Like, don't take it away.
I'm so excited because of this cold open, Maddie.
Okay,
you don't understand. You're the only one that understands.
Yeah, because it's us. It's fine. And we're really excited.
Right. Anyway, okay, I'm ready for a summary. I'm ready.
Okay, let's do this then. So, in a stroke of genius, Leslie starts a community garden in the pit. While working in the garden, Tom and Leslie find pot growing. And instead of getting the cops involved, Leslie sets up a stakeout on the pit to catch the culprit. And instead, they find Andy living in the pit. Meanwhile, Mark and Anne are out on their very first date when they mistake Tom for a car thief, calling the cops and getting Tom arrested. Ron and April weirdly tend to Ron's hernia.
Nice! That was great!
I love this episode.
I love it.
Like the intertwining of 3 different stories. Because Ron, we'll get to this, but Ron's story seems so detached, right? Because they don't really spend a lot of time at City Hall in this episode. Like, the main storyline isn't at City Hall.
Right.
And so the fact that Ron spends the entire episode at City Hall, they have these really wonderful ways of, like, connecting it back to Ron, where it's like, this doesn't feel awkward that we're just hopping back to City Hall, So it's very well
absolutely.
Done.
Yeah. Ron's so good in this episode.
So here we go. We have our Anne Leslie / Maddie Holly cold open. That is so accurate.
Oh my gosh, this is such a famous cold open. This is the most quoted thing, I think, from Parks and Rec, or one of the most quoted things ever. It's so cute. So I did want to say really fast, though, that I was wondering, like, if maybe they had a sleepover or something, because Anne is in her PJs, and there was, turns out there was a deleted scene where Leslie comes over to Anne's house at 7 a.m., and Anne is like, whoa, wow, I thought we said brunch, and Leslie's like, well, I ate at 4:45, so I'm starving, and then she was like, did I, like, come too early? Is it? And Anne's like, no, it's totally fine. And it turns out that also Leslie had been gardening at the community garden, and then she decided to just hop on over after she was done gardening. So that is why they are dressed the way they are dressed.
Okay. My thought process was that she stopped by before she started gardening. Because she's already in her gardening outfit, which is bomb, by the way. I love her outfit, her gardening outfit. She's got that fancy hat and the nice flowy white shirt.
Super cute. Okay, so we've got hose before bros, ovaries before broveries, uteruses before deuteruses. I do have to tell you, they cut a few. Do you want to hear them?
I thought they did because I was pretty sure I had read or at least seen a couple more. Yes, please enlighten all of us.
Now, there's really only technically 3, but I feel like that's going to be our mission. And audience, I want you to chime in. And I'm sure I speak for Maddie when I say that too. We need to come up with some more.
Yes, please.
Like one special to Park Pals. But here are the ones they cut. So they had, Leslie says, sisters before mistas.
Good. Classic.
Then she says, classic. Then she says, gynecology before gynecology.
Wow. Okay, all right.
And she's like, oh, that's better on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then Anne says breasties before testes.
Oh.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that one too. I don't know why I said aw after testes. Sorry. Just made myself uncomfortable.
Well, it's cute. Maybe the aw was more for the breasties.
Yeah.
But we'll say that. Whatever. Anyway.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, what were you saying when I was saying that? I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying this is our first Leslie whipped cream moment.
Yes, okay, I have that written down too. It is a whipped cream episode. It comes up later too. I don't know if you have that written down as well. But yes, we're getting to see the beginning of, and like, just a whipped cream life of Leslie. It's beautiful. And Holly and I are all about the whipped cream. We daydream about us being in the same city again and getting waffles with a shit ton of whipped cream on them. And it's so exciting. And my favorite thing in this entire scene is when she puts all this whipped cream on top of her coffee and she takes a bite of the whipped cream and she's like, you make really good coffee.
I know. That was so funny.
Like,
oh my God.
You didn't even get any coffee, but I feel you.
Right. And again, Rachel Axler is behind this inspiration for Leslie. So we talked about how in the canvassing episode, she brings GORP, which comes back.
It does.
You will see. Oh my God. And I felt so excited. I'm sorry I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but I felt so excited for us because no one else would know that GORP was a thing before or what it stands for, which we'll have a little moment after that, or when we get there. But yeah, so Rachel Axler was the inspiration because, like always in the writer's room / just in general, she would have, the snacks of like a 5-year-old. And so I love that. But actually onto this scene in general, I really love that Leslie is being so like rational and mature about the Anne and Mark date. She's like, look, we're not even exes. We slept together 6 years ago. There was a cut line where she says 5 years, 10 months, but doesn't matter.
I have the same thing written down, like mostly that I'm just really proud of Leslie as a character because we talked about this a lot in season 1, like that we just felt so sorry for Leslie because she was so hung up on him. And it was like one night, right? So finally we have Leslie being like, recognizing that. Like, he is not actually, we didn't date, we slept together, it's not a big deal, right? And we kind of learned through the episode, it was kind of a big deal to her. But at the same time, her like vocalizing this realization, I think, is a big step for Leslie, and I'm very proud of her.
Yeah, she's starting, I think, to get over it because obviously it still is a big deal to her, but I think it's way less of a big deal than it was, last season.
Yes, agreed.
Okay, so now I'm at the community garden. I think this is a great idea.
Yeah.
I love this idea.
I want one.
There's a lot of community gardens, I feel, like in different cities I've lived in. Now, I remember Boston had that one that was actually across from our apartment, and I think you had to like pay or something, though, to be a part of it, or it was something weird, right? And there was a waiting list.
It wasn't a community garden necessarily, because my idea of a community garden is kind of like what Leslie's doing, right? Which in a big city like Boston, I don't think is as hygienic. Is that the right word? As it would be in like Honey, where you're probably gonna have maybe 10 people using it or whatever. But yeah, so there's a stretch of land on the Fens that I believe you're right, that you like basically rent the land and the garden is your own. And I think a lot of people use it who live, because those of you who know or don't know, Boston is a pretty big city. It's not New York size, but it's a big enough city that like if you're living in the city, you don't have a backyard. So a lot of times you're in apartments. So I'm assuming a lot of people who wanted to grow their own vegetables and whatnot, they can do that with that space, which is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so I really like that she's having this idea. I noticed that Tom's bright pink shirt is back, but this time it says TH, and we will get to what that stands for in a brief moment.
I looked this up and I couldn't find it, but if somebody else knows, this very first shot that we get as we're being introduced to the community garden, Leslie's carrying a bag of mulch or dirt and she drops it. I want to know if that was an accident, because it fits so perfectly that like if she did it on accident, they would be like, okay, yeah, we're keeping that. and it didn't necessarily look staged to me.
Right. That would be really interesting to know.
So is this an episode that we do not have commentary on for season 2? Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask.
It is. I did extra research, and there are some improv lines and things like that, but I did not get to or see anything about that part.
So if anyone out there that is listening knows, please let us know, because I did Google it and several different wordings and nothing came up. So.
Okay, Amy Poehler, yoo-hoo, we need to know.
Amy, please just come hang out with us every week and record our podcast.
Oh, God, what a day that would be.
Yes. Can I also just say, how lazy is Tom right now? Like, I can't get over it, Holly. I literally can't.
Nope.
And I'm also kind of upset at Leslie because she's letting him do it. He's literally...
Yeah, that's true.
He's sitting there. He has his headphone in. He's drinking his fancy tea and, just commenting on things. Like, if I was someone's boss and I was doing all the heavy lifting, I'd be like, listen, you're not here to just watch me work. Like, come on.
But the thing about it, too, is that, like, she thinks he's helping.
Right. Oh, that's a good point.
Giving rappers names to the plants.
Which I also have a thought about, because if Leslie knows the full rap to Parents Just Don't Understand, we have to kind of assume that she likes rap music to a point.
Okay, but that's 90s rap.
Fair. I was going to...
I don't, and all these other ones were
recent
like
2000s.
way more recent. Like, I don't think she knows who Ludacris is.
That's a very good point. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but that was my question.
Although I can see her dancing to Soulja Boy Tell 'Em. I definitely can see her 100%. Doing that, but I don't think she's been introduced to that.
Yeah, but that's a good point. So Tom is called a horticulturist by Leslie. I looked it up just so we can know exactly what it means. It is an expert garden cultivist and manager.
Yeah, we used to have horticulture classes in high school. I never took them, but Future Farmers of America, I had a few friends that were in that, and they, my friend back home is so good at knowing all the plants and like making arrangements and stuff, but she doesn't like do it for a job, but she is so good at it. She's definitely a horticulturist.
That's cool. Yeah, I'd never heard that word before, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and that's also technically like what Professor Sprout is in Harry Potter.
I love her.
Me too. I love the way that Tom, I know he's an idiot, but I do love the way that he pronounces this line of, Leslie, the best way to figure out what kind of spice that is, just roll it up into a joint and smoke it. Smoke it.
I looked up because I wanted to actually have a comparison. I looked up what carrot stems look like, and they don't look that close to marijuana leaves. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't smoke. I don't know a lot about marijuana. So I could be 100% wrong. But I've seen pictures of marijuana leaves, and I've also seen, I looked up carrot stems, and they don't look that close to me. Like, what she's holding actually does look like what weed would look like to me.
Right. Yeah, that maybe just, again, tells how out of touch she is. But again, there was, there was a deleted scene. It's really funny. So after Tom says that it's probably marijuana, Leslie tells the film crew to step aside and is like, oh my gosh, don't film this part. And she asks him to go behind the little shed thing or whatever that's back there. And she asks Tom whether the marijuana plant could be a non-marijuana weed. What the fuck is that? Number one, I'm thinking she meant like maybe like a non-alcoholic beer ? I don't know. And she was comparing it to that. But again, showing how out of touch she is. She doesn't quite know what weed is or how it works or what it looks like or anything. And apparently neither does Tom, really.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. Yeah. And I'm right there with them.
Anyway.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. I know. I wouldn't either, truthfully.
Which I think is fine. And it's also fine if you do know stuff.
Right.
Do you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think a lot of people who do smoke, I'm generalizing, but a lot of people who smoke where it's legal already have it rolled or portioned out or whatever when you go to the store or wherever you buy it from. You're not planting it a lot of the times. So unless you are interested / like have a weed growing, moment, then you'd be the only person that know what it really looks like.
Right.
I feel, apart from like, you know, fucking Sublime pictures that you've seen like weed stickers on. Okay, so like it's really not, you know, bad if you don't know what it looks like but you still smoke. So who cares?
I have a little side thing here. I'm gonna be really quick about it because it has nothing to do with Parks and Rec, but it has stuff to do with marijuana. At Berkeley, you have to take like a certain amount of liberal arts classes, right? So I took a law class called Law and Disorder. Very cool, I know. Okay. So it was a really cool class. I loved it because we had to listen to Supreme Court cases and stuff, and that's actually one of the reasons I fell in love with RBG. So that's love her. Anyway, so another thing in the class was you had to go to at least 2 court hearings at the Boston courthouse and sit in on trials. And actually, like, it couldn't be like, you know, a custody battle or something. It had to be like an actual trial that was going on and had a jury and all this stuff. So one of the ones I went to was basically this. This guy had like, I can't remember how much, but he had a chicken coop. It was a pretty decent sized chicken coop, like bigger than a shed, and he was growing weed underneath it. And that's why he was on trial. And he had he was a witness to the trial, but he was also selling this weed to this other guy who was on trial for a lot of other crap. But I vividly remember that because I was sitting there and I was like, how are you growing weed under your chicken coop? How do you water it? I was so intrigued, but this is just you said growing weed and I was like, I know someone who does that. Not really, but
yeah. Couple things. Number one, we need to decriminalize that. No need to be on trial for that. Right. Stupid. Number two, there's a multitude of ways to grow weed. You know, you can. I don't know. I just feel like there's a bunch of different ways. People have like little hot heater lamps, things like that. People grow it on rooftops, like there's in gardens, evidently now under chicken coops. I just feel like there's a bunch of ways to do it. As long as you have the right soil and sunlight and water, then you're fine. Yeah. Not that I know what the fuck I'm talking about, right. But
well, luckily it sounds like this guy was not going to be on trial because he was playing witness in this case. Like they were like, we're not going to charge you for the weed because you're giving a testimony. So luckily that guy got off. But I agree that it's no reason to be in prison for that.
So there was someone else growing it and he was just a witness?
Growing it, but he was a witness in a bigger crime to a guy he was selling the weed to.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. Okay, got it.
I walked in like 10 minutes into the questioning of this guy, and so it took me a good solid maybe 30 minutes to figure out what was actually happening.
To figure it out. Gotcha. Yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
Side fact, but
cool. I like that story.
I don't know.
I never knew that you had to do that in college. Well, that's cool.
For those of you that are interested or might want to be a lawyer someday or just like it, a lot of that stuff is open to the public. Yeah. So if you're interested, just if you go on your court house's like website or whatever, that's typically like I went to a mob trial, like an Italian mob trial in Boston. So there's some cool ones to go out there too. So if you're just like, I don't know what to do this Saturday, and I think law is cool.
Yeah. Dope. Okay. Love it. Okay. I met Ron has a hernia.
Yep. Also love that Leslie comes in. This is the kind of communication I'm talking about. Like, did you get my voicemails? Did you get my emails? Did you get my texts? Did you, right? Like I'm like about that. I'm about like, I know you don't necessarily need to know what I'm doing, but like I'm 10 minutes away and I just wanted to give you like a heads up, you know? Like I think that's good. And a lot of people don't give that. And I find out like 30 minutes later that they're going to be late. And it's like, okay, well that would have been helpful information 40 minutes ago.
Oh my God. I love a good warning. I'm all about the follow through. I do not believe that it's the thought that counts. I believe that it's the follow through that counts. That is what I say.
I love it. And there's been some life lived to come to that conclusion.
Yes, 1000%. Oh yeah, yes, it has been experienced for sure. There is a deleted scene where Ron unsuccessfully tries to eat his lunch because you know how he's throwing the burger in his mouth or whatever. So he tries to throw away the whole box / the whole drink, and he's like literally just sitting there throwing it to the side without moving so that he can try to get it to the trash can. It's really funny. And if you'll see, there is a catch, I believe, when it's either when the janitor comes or another time when they're showing Ron. You do see the garbage overflowing with his trash that he tried to throw.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So, like, if you, I should have timestamped it, but if you do see that, like, in the bottom corner, that is why, because it was a deleted scene. Another deleted line, really quickly, was that he had a talking head where he said, "No medical attention is needed. I'm a city employee. I don't need the taxpayers paying for me to lay in bed and eat Jell-O and watch Dr. Phil."
I really did not peg him to be someone to watch Dr. Phil. That is fascinating to me.
But yeah, I mean, like, he's just saying all the things that you would do in a hospital, I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's funny.
But also, side note, fun thing that I caught, they don't really show it, but it was through the window of when they have a shot of Jerry, is that the egg and bacon poster with the brunette is here in Rod's office.
I have that written down too.
Clappity clap. Bobby Knight is gone. Oh, good. Yeah, I'm glad.
Look at us. We got it. I also noticed while Leslie's in there, and I don't know if this stays throughout the seasons. I don't think it does. There are like frames behind Leslie that look like they're holding like Native American artifacts. So I don't know.
I feel like I briefly saw that, but I don't.
They almost look like arrowheads, but I don't know. I couldn't really tell, and I paused it and I really looked at different angles, and I just couldn't figure it out. But I don't think they stay there.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep an eye out. Cool. I have that the talking head of Leslie talking about the brownie is. I know this is such an easy line, but it's my favorite line. I don't care.
Do it.
Turns out there wasn't any pot in the brownie. It was just an insanely good brownie.
If there's someone who understands my love for dessert, it's Leslie Knope. It's 100% Leslie Knope.
Oh, it's so funny.
It's such a good line. That whole thing.
Because, like, the way that she sets it up is really what does it. Because she's like, I had a really great brownie. I felt like I was floating. All the symptoms of a pot brownie. But it wasn't. It was just a really fucking good brownie.
Yeah, seriously.
Sugar does that too, I guess.
Right. This is my thing too. Like the way she sets it up, right? She says like, "No, I have not ever smoked marijuana because I would like to be president one day." And then she's like, "But I have had a brownie." So do they get calculated a different way? Like you can be president if you've eaten a pot brownie, but you can't be president if you've smoked marijuana.
Maybe, well, what is the exact line? Because maybe she was like saying, "I haven't smoked any, but I've eaten it."
Yeah, well, it's the setup for the brownie story where she's like, "No, I have not smoked marijuana.
Because I want to be president.
Right, but I have had a brownie."
Yeah.
And I think it's the but that I'm like,
so I guess, yeah, and that's where, yeah. And that's where she's saying, like, the brownie didn't actually have any marijuana in it anyways.
Right.
So it doesn't matter because if I want to be president, I haven't had anything.
Sorry, I just have to say that him throwing the hamburger at his face is one of my favorite things to happen on screen.
Yeah. It is hilarious. And, like, the fact that he thought that he could, catch it in his mouth?
Yeah. Like, what was the plan there? Like, I don't understand.
Oh, my God.
Oh, well. But, yeah, now I'm in the van and I'm ready to list out the things that Leslie packed.
Yes! Do it.
Notepads, pencils, pencil case.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, how many pencils did you bring that you also need a pencil case? I'm, like, so intrigued by this. Because I have a pencil case, but it's because I carry around 500 million pens and pencils because I like to color code every little thing I do. So, but you only have pencils. Why do you... Okay, I digress. Whipped cream. Here we go.
Whipped
again.
Cream.
Yep. Cameras. GORP is back.
Yes!
Raisins and Peanuts.
GORP comes back.
Yes.
Yes! Oh my God.
And candy necklaces.
Oh my God.
And I have a
Love them.
I thought about candy necklaces.
Yes.
Loved them as a kid. Like, I loved the candy part of it. Could never, ever wear them. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Have you eaten a candy necklace?
Yeah.
Have you ever worn it around your neck and eaten it?
I don't know.
And I don't know if I was just like a gross eater as a child. I don't know. But when you put the necklace in your mouth, you eat the candy, you get the string a little bit wet, right? It's just normal. And then the other candies touch the wet and it gets sticky. And the candy necklace would become sticky around my neck, and my sensory system was like, no, do not let this touch you. This is disgusting. Yeah. So I was not about it as a kid. Mm-hmm. So I can't.
I don't blame you. Gross. Yep. Bad memories.
But I love the candy. I'm like, yes, bring the candy necklaces, but don't wear it while you eat it, you know? Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. She also has a mixtape.
Yes, I love that. I was waiting for you to say it. Oh my God, I love that it's mostly Sting because it's about people watching people.
I'll be watching you.
So funny. That made me laugh out loud.
I have a question. Is this an added line since it's been added to Peacock? Because I do not remember this line from the original.
Which one?
The mixtape.
The Sting one? Oh, I don't know. I don't remember that. I don't know.
At least the Sting line. Maybe she said she had a mixtape, but I do not remember it being anything being mentioned about Sting.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. That wasn't. Usually, it tells me that, like when I look it up, like which lines weren't, originally aired. But I don't know. You could be right.
That's something I'm finding. I'm rewatching The Office, obviously, because that's literally the two things I watch typically are Parks and Rec and The Office, and then sometimes New Girl. But I'm noticing a lot of added stuff in The Office in certain episodes.
Yeah, and The Office definitely has been adding a lot. And Parks and Rec even will say, when I look it up, like what they've added and stuff usually. But yeah, no, they have Peacock has definitely been adding in their deleted scenes. Which, speaking of which, by the way, I don't know if you caught this, but he talks about, I think it might be a little bit later, but maybe not. I don't know. I think it does come up a little bit later, but where he talks about his real name and so that was a deleted scene in the pilot episode.
I remember you mentioned that.
We had talked about that. Mm-hmm. A little bit. And then he says, that line of, my original name is Darwesh Ghani, but, Middle Eastern guys don't make it far in politics. And then it's like the deleted scene in the pilot was as if the interviewing team was asking, like, what about Barack Obama? But then they had Leslie ask that in this, which I think is wonderful because that joke is so good. So I'm glad that it came back.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I also have a question as to, so Tom's plan was to be in politics this whole time?
Yeah, well, I think that it was like the thing that led to the bigger thing, but I think that he wanted the connections to be more of a, like, I don't know. It just seemed, it wasn't necessarily to, like, help the people. It just seems like he wanted the name almost,
Yeah, just because I thought that was interesting when he said that, right? Like, but, guys with Indian names don't make it far in politics. But then I was like, I don't think any of us ever really thought, like, politics was your end game.
Yeah. Right. I think he just wanted like a more prominent name in local government or like just in general. I don't know that I don't know what title he would be searching for. Like, I don't think he was trying to be city councilor or something, but I think he just likes the connections that you get when you're in politics.
That's valid. I like that reasoning.
So the farther you get, the more connections you have. I don't know. That's just what my thought was. But, yeah, I don't know. Speaking of Tom, okay, we find out what TH stands for on his shirt. He's especially had it monogrammed Tom Haverford. Everyone thought it was Tommy Hilfiger, myself included, because I hadn't watched this episode in a really long time. I was like, oh, okay, he's getting into Tommy H. That's cool. But no, it's him.
How did he not see that coming? Being someone who like seems to be good in fashion, right? You have to know that the TH was going to probably be seen as Tommy Hilfiger.
100%.
I just have this line that I love from Tom. When she's you need to wear black, and she hands over her sweatshirt, and he says, "I'm pretty bummed this fits."
I know, and it's such a throwaway line. Like you almost miss it. I feel a lot
of those because he had that throwaway line in the last episode too, about the cowboy.
That could have been improvised too. Yeah, about the cowboy too. Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so many. They're so good. That's what these shows do, though. They make you think that everything is an improvisation because it's so good.
Everything could be, and everything could be written. That's how freaking good they are.
So good, amazing.
Yeah. Oh, also, Tom is bugging the crap out of me because she's trying to take these pictures, and he's like pushing it out of the way, and I'm like, you are being such a little. I just don't understand this dynamic, Holly. Because it's
very strange.
He basically works for her. It's very weird.
He does.
And I would not put up with that shit. I hate it. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, and like,
I don't put up with it with my own brother. Like if he did that, I would literally my God,
so dumb.
Okay, but now I'm ready.
So dumb.
Mark and Ann.
Okay. Anna's really cute. I like that she cut her hair. Love that. I don't know why I picked up on this, but I, for some reason, picked up on how she pronounced it, ratatouille. She says, I would say ratatouille, and she said ratatouille. And I was like, oh, okay. Maybe that's the correct pronunciation, but
now
I don't know, whatever.
Now I'm trying to think how I say it. Ratatouille. I would say yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. But also, like, this just seems awkward. I don't like it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I know, like, how it ends or something, but I don't know. No. It just seems weird.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have always kind of been meh about this relationship. It just doesn't click for me. And, you know, we kind of see that at the end of the episode, too. And, you know, maybe it does kind of impact us because we know the way it ends. But, this banter, like, I don't know. If I liked a guy and I was, like, excited to go on a date with him and he asked me, are you ready to go? I don't think I would respond, oh, no, I need, like, an hour, like, another hour to get ready.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And she doesn't say it, like, jokingly almost. It's, like, very bland and dry and, like... I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that she raises her eyebrows, though, when he doesn't know it's a joke. Right. I really like that. She's like, oh, God.
This is going to be fun, I think is what she says.
Right, exactly. But I wonder, because I feel like they've kind of created a little bit of a rapport. And so maybe that's why she feels a little more comfortable being like a little more dry, a little more humorous, instead of like, oh, this is a dude that I haven't like really known at all unless like I'm romantically attracted to him. Because she didn't look at him like that really ever before until he asked her out. And truthfully, we kind of know that even if you hadn't seen like the rest of the series, that like she's kind of just trying this out. Like, I don't know if she's really super mega excited about it. She's kind of just like, okay, we'll see. You know what I mean? She's just like, I gotta get back out there. So it doesn't seem like she's like super mega stoked about like, he's cute, I'm gonna be excited all of the time. She's just like, okay, look, we're doing it, I can be myself, whatever, you know?
Yeah. And I think you're right. There's a little bit more setup to I think if we had a little bit more setup, it wouldn't seem so bland.
Right. I do love that Leslie says that she turned Mark down. I love that. I thought that was cute. I had a little note that I was like, yes, queen, yes, you did.
And I also wrote, Tom, believe her. Like, because he puts on this, like, there's no way Mark, like, asked you out and you didn't, and you said no, right? Like,
right.
Which I feel like people do that all the time. They put this stigma of, like, well, no, you're not at that caliber, so obviously that didn't happen, which is dumb.
So dumb. Hate it.
So I like that. I agree. I like that Leslie made that happen.
Yeah. Also, I, for the longest time, had Shovel Guitar, the song, stuck in my head. I don't know. It's so fucking catchy.
Shovel guitar.
Shovel guitar. Somebody wants to play a shovel guitar. Shovel guitar.
It's so drum. Bucket drum. Yeah. I think Leslie has ADHD. In my professional opinion, in this episode, I think she has ADHD.
You're probably right. I mean, honestly, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just like this, the amount of energy, and then the fact that she's done with shovel guitar and she immediately has something else to go to.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
This question is so terrible that Leslie asks Tom.
Yes,
I mean, although Tom is dumb, but I think this is like the joke too, and this is what they're so good at doing, is like kind of telling you, that this should not be a question. But yeah, like, where are you really from? People of color get that question all of the time. Like, where are you actually from? Like, you were conceived where? So annoying, but very well written, because obviously Leslie means no harm, but also that was like a shitty question to ask.
Right. And like, I think there's I hate using the term politically correct, but I think there's like a politically correct way to ask that. Like, right? Where are you from ethnically, or...
But like, I just feel like it has to come up naturally. It can't just be like what Leslie did with like, so like, what is your deal? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you can't just ask, I don't know. Oh my God, Karen, you can't just ask people if they're white. Stupid.
So good.
Anyway. Oh, I did skip over. Oh, okay. Well, first of all, that was where, okay, so I have in my notes that that's actually where he brings up his real name. But I did skip over Ron and the janitor, like the eye contact that they share working late. And then oh, that weird ass eye contact is so awkward.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree.
I loved it, though. It's the best. Okay. Andy looks so dirty. He's so dirty. They do such a good job of making him look dirty.
He's living in a pit. He needs to look dirty.
I know, he's so gross.
I also can't get over the fact it's so well acted by Chris Pratt, but I cannot get over this fact that he's pulling carrots out of the ground and immediately putting them in his mouth. There's no cleaning process for him.
Yeah, he probably has no idea what is in it. He's just so starving and he's like, whatever, I need food.
Yeah, it's gross. Because I don't know if anybody has had this happen, but we get orders of cilantro at the restaurant. And if we don't wash it, there's still dirt in it. Because sometimes it needs a couple washes before it's ready.
That's how it is at the grocery store too. Yeah.
So 100%. Imagine how much dirt you're eating when you just pull them out of the ground like that. It's gross.
Nope. That shit ain't right.
No, it is not.
But much like Shovel Guitar, I had his sugar high thing stuck in my head for a long time too. Sugar high. Also, he didn't think that there's a string in his candy necklace.
Oh my gosh, I can't. So Holly, I can't. He's like, not in this one.
We should probably get you something more substantial.
Yeah. There's a string in that. Not in this one. Okay. That's such a child response, though.
100%.
They'll always say something along those lines, oh, well, I don't have to do it this time, though. Right.
100%. I also love that we are seeing, so this is kind of where it's jumping back and forth between Ron and the Stakeout. But I do love that we're seeing that this is kind of our first April and Ron friend moment happening. It. I love seeing it. She comes back to save him. What a nice moment of her caring.
I know. Well, I think it's because they're on the same level, right? They're the same type of people. They don't outwardly care for people very easily, that kind of stuff. They're very similar. And I think it's, a testament to later on when she becomes his assistant, it's just so perfect because they are the exact same.
Yeah. I know. I love it. I
also love that she fake leaves.
Are you still there?
Yes.
I know. There was a deleted scene too, where she kind of keeps ranting off reasons that he would be sick or not, moving or whatever. And there was so much. I know that she also comes from, I believe she did stand up, which I just learned. But she also, really? I think she's done some improv stuff. Yeah, I have to send you. So you guys, if you don't already listen to Mike Birbiglia, who is a comedian, he has a podcast out called Working It Out. It's so good. And Aubrey Plaza was the most recent guest, and she talked about how she did stand up. And I was like, oh my God. And the reason that they talked about that was because she recently hosted, and I think has since hosted maybe twice or three times, the Indie Spirit Awards for indie movies, because she's a huge actor / producer of indie movies. And she was like, when I was hosting, it brought back memories of doing stand up, and I haven't done this in so long, blah blah blah. And I was like, what? That's crazy.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So, and you'll see, we'll talk about it a little bit. I did I did some homework for the next week as well. And she has a lot of improvisations and shit she makes up. So I'm really glad they're utilizing her skills.
Yeah, I think, I don't know why we didn't assume that already, being that's kind of Mike Schur and Greg Daniels thing. But,
right. Mm-hmm. Casting people that are really good at that.
Cool to know, because she's not one that I automatically go to for that, I need to quickly backtrack real fast when they're trying to get Andy, to come into the van with them. It's my favorite line because he thinks about it for a hot second, right? And he says, "I don't know, guys. I'm supposed to have a rock fight with some crazy guy," which I just
he's 20 minutes late,
which made me laugh so hard, when I watched it, because I'm like, that's your reasoning for not. I know. hanging out with them is like, oh, but I'm supposed to throw rocks at this guy, you know?
Right. I know. I love that. He's taking it very seriously. This is a meeting for him. That's his equivalent of a Zoom meeting.
I wonder if he wears his suit to his rock fight.
I know. Good question. Good question. Well, now I'm at where Tom gets arrested.
Yes. So we have Mark and Anne getting back. Mm-hmm. Again, more awkward for me.
Yes,
because
I know.
He's like, well, ask me in for a nightcap. And like, I understand what he's doing. If we had seen several more dates with them, I'm sure it would have been a little cuter. But it's just like, oh, Mark, no.
Yeah, I know. I do like that line. I think it's cute, and I think it would have worked if it maybe was a different couple. And it almost, for me personally, it was like 85% there. But then the other percent of me was like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I really like Paul Schneider. But I do too. The way he plays that when he's like, oh no, like he wasn't supposed to say yes, I'll come inside, right? It was like, it almost, I like the way he played Mark there.
Yeah. I do too. I think it's great.
It's uncomfortable to watch, but you're like, I can understand Mark because Mark has been going home with these women for probably years now. And he's found one that he actually wants to impress and take things slow and do the right things with. So he's probably a little out of his comfort zone. So I thought the way Paul played it was great, but also Mark makes me uncomfortable in that moment.
I know. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think that it was so well done because like your nerves make you just be dumb sometimes and say just the weirdest things. You're like, oh, or like in the weirdest way. So yeah. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm like the most awkward human when I'm nervous. I'm not.
It's different.
It's bad. Like I'm like I'm usually a pretty composed person, and then I'm nervous, and I'm like, I can't function like this.
Yeah, definitely brings out some crazies, but that's okay. I don't know that I've seen you nervous, but
I don't know how to explain it. I don't
in my lifetime anyway. That's okay. No, I hope that I'll never find that out because you're amazing and you shouldn't be nervous in any situation. But
I don't think I've ever been nervous around you. I think from the second we met, it was just very comfortable,
at ease. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't ever feel like, I don't know, and like hopefully some of you guys can relate to this with like your best friend. But I just always felt like accepted, no matter who I was or what I was doing with you.
Oh,
you know? So I never was like, is Holly gonna think this is cool? I was like, Holly will love it because she loves me. She just gives me that vibe, you know?
That's so real,
it's always comfortable.
I'm glad you got that.
Yeah. Yay. Yeah.
Aw, Maddie. I
love
blushing. I love you. Love it. Well, everything and right back at you. Okay, well, so now I'm at where Tom is getting arrested. Do you have anything before that, though?
Let's go. Let's get into it, because this is the thing.
Okay. So I have a big, paragraph note, you guys. So first of all, okay, so they call, Tom gets locked out of the van. I definitely feel like Leslie and Andy could have heard him because they weren't that far away.
It was pretty immediate. It was pretty much like, oh, crap, I can't get in the van. Like, either run after them and get the keys or run after them and go get food with them.
Right. Very strange. But, okay, so a little bit of a fun / not really fun fact, but, just interesting little moment tidbit. This was based on the real life arrest of Henry Louis Gates in 2009. Have you heard this?
No, but this is amazing that it's taken from a real arrest because I had so many feelings about it.
Yes. Okay. Let me tell you everything, girl. Okay. So this was based off the real life arrest of a guy named Henry Louis Gates in 2009, which of course is the same year that this aired. He is an author, professor, documentary filmmaker. He's actually the host of Finding Your Roots on PBS, which is a show that they find like the genealogy. It's a lot of famous people that have been on that show. But anyway, he's also a professor. He was a professor at Harvard, and he was returning from a trip home from China to Cambridge, because that's where he lived, and his front door was jammed. So him and his taxi driver tried to unjam it, and then someone saw that, called the cops on him because they thought it was a break-in. And needless to say, Henry Louis Gates is black. And he said, and he was the same as Tom in the sense, Tom took it a little too far because of comedy, but he was the same in the sense where he was talking back to the cops as well, because they were like, you need to step outside, whatever. And the internet, again, this is the internet, this is all conjecture, but I do think that it's real. He said, Henry Louis Gates said, "I'll step outside to your mama." And
oh, shoot.
And that was parodied when Tom says, "I'll step into your mama's van," you know?
Yeah.
So they do all this in a deleted scene, actually, where, you know, Tom actually says, like, all of the things, and they spell it out a little bit more, where they say, like, this is just like that one thing or at Harvard, or that guy, or whatever. And I'm kind of glad that they cut that part, because I think it's more, I just think that it's better storytelling to not really spell it out or whatever.
Agreed.
But so they arrested Henry Louis Gates, and all charges eventually were dropped, thank God. But this definitely sparked a national race conversation about the police. Obama spoke on it publicly. And I just like, number one, is despicable, but I just like I've recently been watching a lot of TV shows that like were that I don't feel are publicized enough, including Fresh Prince. I just don't, I mean, I know everyone knows that, but like I don't think that it's as big of a deal as it should be. Girlfriends, Insecure, Girlfriends I've been watching because it's on Netflix, and it's literally the same premise as Sex and the City, but they're all black women. And I'm like, why the fuck hasn't this been more like, you know,
in the spotlight,
publicized, or in the spotlight, or movies made out of, like Sex and the City has. And like the thing about it, and I know I'm on a bit of a soapbox, but I promise I'll come down in a moment. It's just that like people have been acting like race has only been an issue this last year, and I'm like, motherfuckers, listen up. Can you please go back to literally the beginning of time? Race has been talked about way long before 2020, including on all of these TV shows. You just haven't heard of it because a white person was not at the center of it. And so I just like, it's despicable, but I also love that they are shedding light on this. And I'm glad that I was able to like relay that information as far as like this being based on a real like incident, because I wouldn't have known that. I obviously like know that that's like a thing that happens, of course, but like the fact that, you know, black people are you know, black parents teach their kids how to speak to police officers or people of color in general, kind of like have that conversation with their kids. So like it is a thing. It's a real issue, and it's very prevalent, obviously, recently. But, like, I didn't realize that this was a thing in 2009, and I don't know. I mean, I guess in 2009, I was a junior in high school, and I just feel like I should have, but I wasn't as involved in politics. I mean, that is something that the last 4 years have given us, I feel. If there's any sort of silver lining, is that young people are getting more involved. Or just aware, maybe not even involved, but just aware of what the fuck is going on outside your own door. So anyway, I thought that was really interesting that they based this. And this also goes back to last episode where they are really going back to the show, trying to get into the topical issues, not necessarily putting a stance on it per se, but definitely being more aware of the culture and the current events that are happening. And I have like a big, huge thing for next episode, just a little like preview. But yeah, so Henry Louis Gates was who this was based off of.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I think this episode hits differently watching it now than when it came out.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's such a good point.
Because we've had 100%. More examples, real life examples that have been in the spotlight since this came out, right? Just in this last year, even we've had a lot of this kind of brought to light. And like I said, I have a lot of thoughts and I have a lot of feelings. But Holly, I think you really just you put it so well. Like it's unacceptable. You know, I 100% do not think that Tom's arrest was warranted. I don't think Tom should have talked back the way he did. You know. But
right, yeah,
and
that
I don't
part
know
was
why.
tricky.
Like if I was Tom, and this is, I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but when he asked for identification, I wouldn't have questioned it. I would have just been like, "Here's my ID," you know, and
yeah,
you know, just because I'm not going to start something when there's nothing here to be started anyway. But again, it's still not warranted because disorderly conduct. I don't think that's just talking back to a cop, right? Don't you have to be doing something? It has to be pretty aggressive language for it to be.
Well, and that's the tricky part where I feel like the cop can decide that, you know? So the cop decides what your disorderly conduct is, and that to him was. And I guess it was in Henry Louis Gates, as well.
So I don't know. I don't agree with Tom being arrested. And I mean, all that to say, like, I also am on this side of, like, not every cop is awful, but it's a problem and it needs to be addressed, so there's something has to change.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And also, like, he showed him the ID.
Right.
So I don't understand why it was a big deal. Like, you have identification. You have literally all the proof you fucking need. Step off now. Okay, bye.
There was no need for him to arrest him.
He didn't punch you. He didn't, like, shoot you. He wasn't armed. Yeah, get out of here.
Not a fan of it.
Yeah. So needless to say, I think that was a really good scene. It sparked a lot of conversation. And I think that I didn't even really think of it that way, Maddie. I think that I definitely would have had thoughts about it in 2009, but I for sure have 100,000 more thoughts this year. That's wild. I didn't. It's different. That's awesome.
Are we going to talk about Louis C.K.?
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I think I meant to tell you or talk to you about this before we started airing, but I think we can talk about it in the process. You guys can hear this if I decide to keep it in. But I'm going to talk about the character.
Agreed.
I'm not going to mention any choices. Well, I'll mention some choices, but I'm going to talk about the character. I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to talk about the dude who played him. I'm just going to talk about the character and how it was written.
So we'll leave all his
bullshit.
Yeah, his filmography out of it. We're not going to give
100%. Yeah, I don't need to discuss anything of that.
I'm on the same page as you. I took the notes just in case, but I was like, I don't think we need to talk about this.
I mean, I just don't think it's necessary.
No.
I mean,
no.
I don't know.
He's a character.
Okay. I do have to say, though, before we get there, Andy jumps into the pit when I can't remember if it's when it was, but he literally does a somersault into the pit.
We've seen so many people fall in. There's no way he's not going at least 10 feet into that thing, right?
Oh my god, it looks really scary.
Also, another thing with Andy is when he finds out that Anne's on a date with Mark, he just falls. And also, I noticed Andy's eating, right? They're walking back. Leslie doesn't have food, but Tom called out, I want 2 cheeseburgers and a green tea when they were leaving, right? Mm-hmm. They do not have Tom's food. They don't have any food for Tom. So I just thought I'd mention that because there's nothing there.
Yeah, Andy's eating it all. I also love Leslie's delivery of what? No, Mark. What?
Right. It's classic Leslie. I think that is just it's carried through the whole way because there are episodes in 3 seasons from now where she'll phrase things like that. So it's well done.
Yep, absolutely.
I love that we get this just weird snap to Ron and the lights turn off on him.
Something that's funny and it is worth mentioning is that Nick Offerman, when he was talking about this episode, and I found this online, I'm guessing he said this in an interview or something, but basically he barely moves. He's very quiet throughout the episode. And he said he learned to use his humor amid silence while serving as an altar boy and a lector at his church. And he said that he had a cousin in the congregation that would speak with, or he had a cousin in the congregation and his cousin thought that he was very, stoic and composed because he would speak in this very effective manner kind of thing, just the way that he's speaking now. But he was really just being facetious and then he'd get in trouble for cracking up his cousin. And so he brought that into this character, I'm guessing. And I was like, what? That makes so much sense.
Amazing. I love that.
I love it too. I love this scene with Leslie, all caps.
Yeah.
This is me. This is me, I feel. And you would do it too, I feel, if you were provoked.
She's throwing a 2-year-old tantrum.
Yeah, I love it.
But I feel it.
And support it, truthfully.
She's being valid. Let's be honest. Especially after the conversation we just had, right? We don't think that Tom should have been arrested. I don't think it was warranted. And I would feel the same way. But I just
100%.
I love the way Amy's playing it, like a toddler. Yeah. She's slamming, no, slamming her fists on the counter. I love it.
Yeah, this is one of my most favorite GIFs that I use.
Yes.
There is a deleted scene where Dave Sanderson says that he hates arresting people because they never want to go with him. Like they never, I thought that was a really funny line. Right. He says he also discusses strategies for calming people down in this deleted scene, including using a soft voice, eye contact, and tasing them.
Wow, that escalated so quickly from calm voice to taser.
Well, and he says it all in a calm voice too, which is really interesting. And that's what makes it funny. And then he also said some people get really hurtful. You know, some guy called me a dummy. So that was all deleted. I liked that.
I guess he didn't have siblings growing up, because that's a pretty regular. Right? Yeah, I don't remember when this happens, but I think it is when they're out. It's either when they're in his office or when they're out in the lobby of the police station. And Leslie's like, I'm going to bring Ron Swanson down here. I'm going to bring Ron Swanson. And it cuts to him in the dark room and then cuts back, right? Right. That's another thing I'm talking about, right? They do such a great job of linking Ron into this without him being anywhere other than City Hall.
Right.
Like, I just think it's really, really well done.
It so is.
I also love the, can I call you Dave? He's like, well, my mom likes David, but I mean, I'm kind of split. Like, I think that line is so good because it's like, no, I'm not really asking your permission. Like,
right, exactly. She calls him both too. She says David
right.
and David.
Yeah, I had not caught that before that she calls him David, but she does. I also love this line. I was born ready. When April comes back.
Oh my God. I literally wrote in all caps, I have a full belly laugh at I was born ready. I'm Ron fucking Swanson. Oh, I love it so much.
Because it's such a used line, right? It's nothing original. Like, so many people say, I'm born ready. But the way he delivers it, and just the fact that it's like this situation, you know, it's beautiful. And the whole April pushing Ron down the hallway. I just can't. Have you ever tried to do that, by the way?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. Because
to keep it in like a straight line.
Yeah, you don't know the balance shift that it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, a couple things is that, first of all, I think that it's also so much more funny because Ron has just been silent this whole entire time. He hasn't really been saying much of anything. And so when he says that I'm Ron fucking Swanson, it just takes you off guard, I think, the timing of it. And secondly, when she's pushing him down the hallway, I thought about Cafe Disco.
Yes.
Phyllis breaks her back or whatever the hell. And they try to push her on this chair. Oh my God. Too much.
So Ron has had the handkerchief tied around his hand the whole time. So when he sneezes, he does not let go of it.
Right. He's like using it as a brace almost.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever noticed that that's what it was, but I looked this time because I was like, he's holding something, and it's the handkerchief he sneezes into in the beginning.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I was like, what is that? Okay, I am now at the end of Anne and Mark's date. And
he kisses her on the cheek. Yes.
Very precious.
I agree with that. I like that. Because I think Anne was kind of not ready. You know?
Hey, you kind of kissed me.
I like that line too. Hey, you kind of kissed me. Yes, I did.
I do love the camera work going in and out of focus on Andy. Like, they swing it back around. It was really sad, but also I was like, okay, Andy, get out of here.
I know.
So I was half and half torn.
There's a part of me that feels so bad for Andy, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you had your chance and you were a little child. And you need to get over it and move on and be, you know.
Yeah, and if you really cared, then you would, like, go get a job or, I don't know, do something else to be worthy of 100%. Anne.
So, but I think we see more of that through the season, right? He does make those changes, but he also is just really, he kind of steps in the wrong direction in some ways, too. So.
I love that this nice, sweet, genuine Tom comes out for a brief second.
That is literally my next note.
Yeah.
Like Mark, he does not bash Mark. Tom is a huge Mark fan. So he's like, look, Mark's an idiot. Like, you're too good for him. And I love this. And then he goes right back into, like, keep it in your pants. Nope. Not me.
I know. I love that.
It's so good.
I like that we see like a brief portion of the capability that Tom has to be sweet.
Yeah.
So hopefully we build on that.
Yep. I think that's one of the things that they kind of learned from the first season, right? Is like, okay, I think we took him a little too far and we're going to steer him around, because he's a jerk through a lot of the series, but he has his moments as well. Yeah. So.
Right. And they definitely touch on that this is like swagger. This is an act, you know, and some of it's who he really is, but a lot of it is just like he's trying to be cool, you know?
I have another Leslie ADHD moment.
Oh my gosh, say it.
She asks Tom if he thinks mini golf's open.
Home!
Slept on a bench and he's been in jail. Like, girl.
Oh my God.
Your energy is not needed.
Yeah, she asks him if he wants to do breakfast or like whatever else we can do to keep the party going.
I love that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, the only thing I have is that Dave had a talking head, and there was an improvised line of that line where he said, "I was attracted to her in a sexual manner." That was appropriate. That was improvised. Most of that was written, but the character choice was like, obviously that was mostly, you know, improvised.
Okay, let's go to the tag. I love that Tom takes this moment to confront them. Be like, yo, thanks for calling the cops on me, which I kind of understand, but at the same time, I'm like, I would also probably do the same thing if there was like a black hooded figure. I'm trying
to put myself in that position.
And then, I just love Anne's line when he's like, to be fair, we didn't think you were a pervert. We thought you were a criminal. And she's like, to be fair, I still think he's a pervert.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. Which I think was interesting that they did try to kind of paint the picture of him being a pervert, because they saw, and like that's one of the other reasons that he was like quote unquote arrested or whatever. So that's another like tricky, blurry line, but still, he was a Parks thing and like, or Parks employee, and they didn't give him enough time to explain. But regardless, my question is like, what happened to the weed? Was there weed? Was it not weed? Like what? Like, where is it?
Doesn't Dave go down and he's like, these are the tops of carrots? Or do you think somebody came and like pulled all the weed?
See, I don't know. Was there ever weed? It looked like, I don't know.
It didn't look like carrots to me, but I could be very wrong. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know. So, also, side note, speaking of him going down to the pit to look for the weed, I don't know if I would think, maybe it's a double standard thing, but or maybe he was just saying it because he was attracted to her, but I don't think it's cute if he like if I saw somebody that was like using this as an excuse to stalk their ex-lover's date. He was like, I think it's kind of cute actually, and I was like, really? It's not cute.
It's not.
Like if that's what she was actually doing, which she wasn't.
Right.
Like what?
Yeah, definitely not cute.
So that's really random, but yeah.
Definitely weird.
Anyways, but do you have any other notes?
I'm done with Stakeout.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we did it. Next up, we've got beauty pageant, you guys, which, oh my gosh, I've got so much good stuff. So many good things going on. Quick note, I've posted about it. But if you are a Parks department employee or any local government employee, or you know somebody, please let me know, because I would love to interview you or ask questions or have you be on the pod briefly, whatever. But yeah, you can follow us on Instagram, Park Pals Podcast, or you can email us at parkpalspodcast@gmail.com. I think I also posted my email in there as well. But apart from that, don't forget to rate us and subscribe. And we will see you next week. And write a review. We might read it. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks so much for listening. And we'll now be going to therapy. So we'll see you next week if this is where you end. But if not, we'll see you soon.
See you next week.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, so therapy time. I guess I'll start really briefly because I don't have a ton to say, truthfully.
I don't either. I have one thing.
Okay, cool. So the time change was yesterday for us. Arizona does not change time, which I totally forgot about. And I do appreciate this time change because I do love that there is more light out. That is wonderful. But I've been talking to a couple people and I thought it was just me because yesterday I took a nap like like not really on purpose, and I think I slept way longer than I needed to, and I got really frustrated and my head hurt, and I was like, oh god, this is not what napping is supposed to be. I'm just really bad at napping in general. So but that like lingered on into today, and I was like, this is really annoying. I just woke up feeling frustrated, and it kind of lasted the whole day. And I was just like, this is really frustrating and annoying. And like, this has definitely helped, obviously. But I was like, why am I so groggy and like dead? And then I've talked to a couple people that are feeling the same exact way. But I think it's a mixture. So it's not only the time change, but it's also like, because that just takes getting used to. I do like the time change, or at least this one anyway. But I think the other thing is that I'm just being a complainy bitch at this point, but I am just like real done with COVID. Like I have had a few things that I've been wanting to schedule, and it's just been a fucking shit show. Also, COVID testing is no longer free. Fun fact. So depending on your insurance, but yeah, most places, including the drive-through places, will charge you an office visit. I think some places, like there are some drive-through places here that I researched, and it wasn't the same like site that I used to go to, like website that I used to go to. So I went to an urgent care where a month ago it was free, and I went yesterday, and it costed me $170.
Are you serious? That's not
and they're
okay.
going to submit it to. It's not okay. They submitted it to my insurance, but I went ahead and paid a portion of it so that they could see like, okay, you paid something, and then like the insurance can reimburse you if you want to. And like my HSA card was not accepted there. And I was like, I have money on this fucking HSA card. It was like making me so livid. But I took the hit because I'm the one that's going to be singing at this thing that I got tested for. So I'm not going to be masked, and I think everyone else will be masked. And you know, when you sing, you breathe and spit and whatever the hell. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll fucking do it. But yeah, it's no longer covered anymore. And for some people, I don't think it was ever covered, but for the most part, like it was free. And so that really pissed me off. And I was like, okay, I guess after this, I won't do anything that
requires testing.
I'm around people. Yeah. Like I just, and I'm just really, really over it. And I'm like, I'm trying really hard to be safe and compliant, and now you're going to charge me almost $200 to be safe. So like, I don't know what you want from me at this point. And then like, not that I live there, but I was really frustrated with like Texas and certain places that are like, nope, you don't need a mask anymore, regardless of if you haven't been vaccinated. Who cares? All bars are open at 100%. Our fucking governor, and at this point, I don't care because we're not talking about the episode. This is purely my opinion, not representative of Park Pals or Parks and Rec or NBC Universal. But our governor did a little video downtown on Broadway and was like, hey, spring breakers, we're open. And if you need a place to come, like, party and touristy and whatever the fuck, we're open. And I'm just like, you might as well have asked them if anyone else, if they've gotten COVID yet, because come on down here, we're open for COVID. You know what I mean? Like, it was so gnarly, and he wasn't wearing a mask, and I was just like, you know, this is so fucked up, and Broadway does not need any more fucking people on there, okay? Yeah. And also, why are bars being open at 100% when school teachers haven't even been like all the way vaccinated? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry. I'm so livid about it. And I think that's what's like bubbling up and making me frustrated. But so that's what I feel at this moment.
Things are just happening, probably not in the same order that we would like them to. Yeah.
So I'm just hoping by July, like President Biden says, that hopefully we'll get to a point when we're all vaccinated by July. You know what I mean? Or at least everyone has the option to be vaccinated. Yeah. So
let's hope.
Anyway, that's my therapy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that to come like I was yelling at anyone. I was really just yelling at the situation.
This is how we talk to each other, by the way, guys. Usually, and I think we learned very, very early on that we weren't yelling at each other. But like, if things get heated, I'm going to raise my voice at Holly, but I'm not yelling at Holly. I'm yelling at the situation. Yeah.
Right.
So just don't feel attacked by this.
Right. And I'm sure I'm not alone in that. So it's fine.
So I only have really one thing to share, and it's because if you've been listening from the very beginning, you've kind of got a gist of what my situation has been through COVID, specifically with my mama. I get to see my mom on Friday.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna cry. I almost shared this when we recorded last week, and then I realized, hey, this is going to come out right before she gets on the plane, And I don't want her to know because it's a surprise, everybody. My mom does not know that she's going to see me on Friday. She thinks my brother's going to pick her up in Chicago, and that's all that's happening. But my brother and I talked before he left for Illinois, and I wasn't supposed to see my mom till possibly like May or June. And so it was like, okay, like, because she has to come, and then she has to like, she needs to like get her house on the market and stuff. So she wasn't going to be able to travel for a while. And, you know, we were sitting there talking, and we're like, why would I not just like go and be there? So my boss is awesome and was like, yeah, totally take the time off. If you get there and you're like, you need more time with your mom, just tell me and we'll give you more days off. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is amazing.
Amazing.
So I am... I'm like, and Holly can attest this, because when I booked my flight, I did a voice memo to Holly, and I think I was literally crying in my voice memo to you. I was like, I get to see my mom. So it's been officially 15 months.
Crazy.
Since I've seen her. So to be counting down that in 3 days, I literally land 20 minutes before she does.
Oh my God. So like, what's your plan? Or do you have a plan?
So Connor and I are talking this week about it. I have to call him and talk to him. It sounds like he's going to bring his girlfriend, which is great because that her plane lands at 6:30 in the morning. So he's going to have to leave Peoria at like 3:30 or 4. So I'm glad he's going to have somebody in the car with him to keep him awake. And then she also, she like texted me and she's like, Connor told me that you're coming to surprise your mom. Can I videotape it? And I was like, nothing would make me happier. So
I know, I was going to ask that. I was going to say that should be a thing that happens for sure.
If we get a good recording, I will probably post it because I'm going to be so freaking excited. And I feel like so many people know, you know? Like if there's one thing people in my life know right now, it's that I haven't seen my mom for 15 months. So,
right.
But I'm just overly excited. Because my mom has to go through customs because she's coming from out of the country. She'll land and then she has to do it'll take her another 30-40 minutes to get through customs and get her baggage and everything. So I'm gonna have plenty of time for Connor to pick me up, and then we can loop back around to the international terminal and set up a surprise there. Like I kind of want to sneak up behind her. I don't know though, but I know
I know.
I think she's gonna cry when she sees Connor.
I know.
And I think she's gonna like lose it when she sees me. So
yeah, because she has no
excited.
idea. I was gonna say, like, you could totally do like some dumb thing, like you could ask her, like, excuse me, do you know where the ticketing booth is?
I literally was thinking that, Holly. Are you kidding me? I was gonna tap her on the shoulder and say, excuse me, do you know where I can find, and then say something. Oh, yes. And this has been really hard because when I booked my ticket, I really wanted to tell my stepdad and be like, Randy, oh my gosh, guess who I'm going to see? But I'm like, they literally only see each other basically. And I was like, he's going to accidentally say something. And he's not going to do it intentionally, but something's going to give it away. Yeah. So, yeah, nobody that talks to my mom other than Connor knows, like on a regular basis. So I'm like, just keep it under wraps. So that, you know, like 3 more days, I get to see her in 3 more days. So I'm ecstatic.
That's so crazy. So you're flying in Friday, and then when do you come back on Monday?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So just the weekend, and then are you seeing her any other time? Like
she said she's not going back to Singapore until she's seen us several times. My stepdad also just got his first vaccination. So I think my understanding at this time, and if anybody lives in Singapore and is listening to this and wants to correct me, you can. If you have your vaccinations, you can get back into the country. So I think once he gets his second vaccine, he should be able to come over here. I don't know if he can get into Canada, though. And my stepdad's Canadian. 4 days.
That is so exciting. Oh, my God. I cannot wait until you see her.
I know. I feel like Holly's been on this journey with me from the very start. Like, me calling her and being like, so my mom isn't coming home in April. And then calling, okay, she's not coming home in June. Okay, she's not coming home in July. Like, it's been month after month of us just kind of waiting. So I'm excited. It's going to be good.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so glad you shared that. It's going to be awesome and it's going to be great. And I'm so glad that we, are airing this after the fact, just in case.
Yes, exactly. It'll be a week. So when you're listening to this, I will have already been with my mom. So.
Yay. Awesome. Love it. Okay. Well, I guess that's it for us.
Yeah. Anything you guys want to talk about or would like advice on or things and whatnot, you know where to message us.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love for people to write in. That would be really great. And consistently, I'm seeing that people are downloading the podcast like the next week or like the next couple days or whatever. So just thank you so much for listening to those, because we really put a lot of work into this. So I'm really, really glad that people are, resonating with it. So thank you.
We appreciate it so much.
And we'll see you next week for a beauty pageant, and we will see who wins.
Bye.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.